Okay guys, this is an overview of the new technical rope rescue equipment that we have on pump 4. You're going to find when you open up the third compartment on the driver's side, among other things, 2 new bags. A black bag and a green bag. The green bag contains the rigging kit. The black bag contains the rescuer's kit. Each bag should be sealed, will be sealed with a marked tag like that. Should have the last person that inventoried that bag give their helmet number or their initials and the date upon which they did it. We're going to take a look at the rescuer's kit first, and we're going to do a quick overview of what we have, and then we'll have Davey demonstrate usage of that equipment. The first thing you're going to find is what we refer to as the climbing Y, or the Y lanyard. The one side is a triple action, attaches to the rescuer's harness, and the other side is used generally if we're climbing small gauge steel frame, such as in a radio tower, or if we're climbing a ladder. Next we have a double cow's tail with a bull nose, connected to our harness via a tri-link or a malleon. On the other end, we have 2 carabiners with a steel 2,500 pound cable. This cable allows us to wrap around an object that would be too large for our carabiners. And finally we come to our positioning lanyard. In slang, sometimes referred to as a buck strap after the Buckingham Company. We're going to find on that buck strap, it's approximately 10 feet of 11mm static line, and in the middle there is a rope protector. One end, a screw locking carabiner, and on the other end, a screw locking carabiner with a micro can. We'll go through that piece of equipment as well afterwards. Next we have our étrier. As we all know, étrier is French for stirrup. There's the stirrup. They come in different configurations. This is the one we currently use, and that is utilized frequently in conjunction with, for example, a Petzl ascender, and it allows you to ascend a rope when used in conjunction with other equipment. Very similar to the Kroll or the Basic, has a trigger. For the trigger we pull down and back. The rope slides in between. We lock down the trigger, and then generally speaking we want to place the carabiner through the top loop around that rope. You do also have the option to place that carabiner in the bottom hole, but that presents certain problems which you will address in the training. Next we have our pickoff strap. Pickoff strap, very, very similar to an anchor strap, just on one side you will see a V D-ring instead of 2 delta D-rings. That's a delta, that is a V. The V is actually a buckle, and that will attach to the load, be it yourself and or the patient. You have to decide which end is the load end. Next we have a short piece of 1-inch tubular webbing. Multiple uses, 4,000 pounds in strength, creating an auxiliary anchor point, creating a seat, many things you can do with it. Then we have 2 long brown prussiks and 2 shorter red prussiks. Bringing us into 2 remaining carabiners and our Petzl ID. So all these pieces of equipment that have gone through all have by default carabiners connected to them, and when you take the harness out of the bag, all these components will already be pre-rigged to that bag. Here's our ID, used for descending, can be used for ascending if you know how, used as belay, used for lowering system, and also, again, if you know how, can be used for mechanical advantage pull systems. Next up, we have the Aztec. The Aztec is a little Swiss Army knife, if you will. It's a multi-functionality. It has a lanyard with a travel restraint. This part attaches to our rescuer. In a moment, I'll have one of our models come out, and Davey will model this for you and show how it functions. This end would connect to an anchor point, and on this side, we find a 4-to-1 block and tackle, self-capturing miniature haul system. Both bags have a helmet with a flashlight. Sometimes we work at night. And don't forget, this is also our confined space rescue PPE. A set of rope rescue gloves and a Class 3 Yates harness. All the PPE is the same, whether you are in the riggers or the rescuers, with the exception of one thing. Can I borrow you, Dave? Mm-hmm. Dave has been kind enough to get dressed for us. The big difference is the rescuer's harness has a crawl. We're going to come back to Dave in a couple of minutes. First, we're just going to take a look at the rigger's kit. So for the rigger's kit, same harness, gloves, and helmet. 2 short prussics, 2 long prussics. We have one very long piece of webbing. She's a 30-foot piece of 1-inch tubular webbing. And then we have an anchor strap. This anchor strap is very much like the pickup strap, except it doesn't have the V buckle on it. It just has double deltas. Also an ID. And then we're going to come to a rescue sender, a camming device. Very similar to the one that you'll find on the buck strap, just a larger, heavier duty version. Then we have a piece of equipment called the 540 belay. This is a single function piece of equipment. We are phasing it out, but for the moment, you do need to know it. It is a belay system, works very well. Then we're into our pulleys. We have a rescue pulley, 2-inch sheave, and then we have a prussic minding pulley at 6.5 sheave. Finally, we have our rigging plate. This one's a bare paw, 3 carabiners, and spectral cordage. Sometimes the rigging plate can be your critical point, so we back it up with spectra to remove that single critical point in the event and reduce the possibilities for a critical failure. Okay guys, we're going to take a look at the Aztec, aka set of fours. Aztec really a slang term. We've already pre-connected via the Purcell prussics. So this Purcell prussics has a small oval malleon. It is a screw link, and as with all screw links, once you attach it, you will need to ensure that you use more than a hand tight option. So we're going to go hand tight, and then we're going to use pliers or something to make that so that it cannot come undone. It will rotate, and friction, if it finds itself gates up, will work against it and cause it to open. So with this attached to Dave, he has the first components required for fall protection, be it travel restraint. Because it is in a Purcell configuration, as you're going to see in a moment, it will act as a shock absorber. So Dave, if you want to go ahead and hook up the Con carabiner. There's a unique carabiner on this. It's called the Con. It's very similar to the crab claws found on the climbing wires or the Y lanyard. Now, what this allows us to do, Dave can deploy a little bit of that line. We'll zip him up so that it doesn't fully deploy. And now he can gauge how far he wants to go. So go ahead, put some tension on it, Dave. There we go. Just like that. So that is now holding, and that will act as a travel restraint. In the event, I'm just going to get that, I'm just going to watch this bar, but maintain that. In the event that Dave slips, falls over the edge, there are 2 things that will happen. This prussics here will slip a little bit. That will act as a shock absorber. The other component is this Purcell process here, will also slip, also acting as a shock absorber. So it's very important that when we rig this process, this Purcell process, we fully take up all the slack. That is how it's meant to be. It is not meant to be like this. It's only meant to be fully deployed in the event that it has been activated. All right? That's the Purcell process. Okay, Dave, let's show what's in the other side of that pack. We have the block and tackle set of fours. I'll just stow this up on your right hip for the moment. So once again, we can take one end, and we're generally going to take the end that is more difficult for us to manage. Now there are two prussics on this, and only one can be connected at a time. What we're going to do is, Dave, you can pull this one in. Actually, let's flip this. It'll be easier. Connect that side to yourself. You're just going to clean it up a little bit here, guys, so that it's not as messy and you can see a little bit. Now, by holding this process, we can deploy this. So keep on going back a little bit. Just like that. Now, go ahead and lean back. And if Dave wanted to bring himself back up, he's simply going to hold on that running end and raise himself. Now, it is self-camming, so as Dave lets go, it stops him from slipping back down the line. Let go of the line completely, Dave, and you can see he's not going to travel back, okay, because this process has been activated and it is self-camming. Take a look at the ascender combined with the A3A. You can go ahead and connect the ascender there, Dave, to the line. What we've done is we've hooked our line up to a high anchor point. Dave's attached the ascender just by opening the trigger, and then he wraps around the line and attaches to the upper connection point on the ascender. And what that gives us is this adjustable foot strap right here with our A3A. And then we can pop our foot into it, and as you can see, as I'm pushing down on that, that will support our weight, and then we can raise it like that. That's all it is. It's a little climbing tool, the A3A combined with the Petzl ascender. Alrighty, cut. As we said, this is double cow's tail with a bullnose with two steel cable anchors. If the gauge of steel or the gauge of the anchor is too large for a carabiner, or anything over 2 inches in diameter, then it's going to be too large for our crab claws, and we're going to need this to create an anchor point or a climbing point for a rescuer. So Dave, do you want to go ahead and demonstrate how that would be attached? And it just clips in. It's the only place, or actually one of only 2 places, where we use auto-locking carabiners that allows for one-hand operation when you get practiced at it. Okay. As we can see down on this end, the tri-link, the malleum, goes into Davey's ventral. All right, hang right there, Dave, and we will switch you out for the double Y. The Y lanyard with the crab claws. Incidentally, the double cow's tail with the bull nose, this is the only place where we use dynamic line. All our other rope is static line. The reason we use dynamic is it has shock absorbing capabilities. When we go to the Y lanyard, we'll see on the end that attaches to our rescuer, we have a shock pack. And the shock pack ends the same way. Should Dave slip, fall, and be suspended by his Y lanyard, then his energy will be dissipated to the deployment of the shock pack, which just deploys at 4 feet. So Dave, with this one, can hook right into this steel beam. It's really quick and easy, double action cam. Okay? Great. All right, Dave, let's take a look at the box strap. So as we've identified in previous videos, we have our sternal, ventral, dorsal connection points, and then we have our confined space lifting points. What we've never addressed before at the operations level are our rigging loops. And there is one rigging loop on each side of the harness, and that's where our positioning lanyard comes in. So we're going to take the positioning lanyard that has the micro cam on it, and we're going to put that on Dave's right hip. Then we're going to take the other side and we're going to wrap around an object. Go ahead, Dave. Wrap around that object and put yourself that way so we can see in the camera. And Dave's going to put that other carabiner on his left hip. As he takes up slack through the micro cam, so just go to that one on the right hand side, Dave, and pull it through. And then we can place our rope protector against the steel. And this allows Dave to go hands free and rotate his body in both directions, rotate fully the other direction, to manage a patient that is below him. Positioning lanyard, aka box strap. So the last piece we're going to look at is the rescue sender. Rescue sender is known as a hard grab. A soft grab, for example, being a Prusix or a piece of 1-inch tubular webbing used in a heat and wrap configuration. With the hard grab engineered piece of equipment, it's a little more versatile maybe. Mostly it has an engineer stamp on it. To utilize the rescue sender, the same as the micro sender, we have this pin on the front. I'm simply going to pull the pin back and then pop it out. And that allows me to remove the camming arm. I can take the cam itself, wrap it around the rope, and then I want to place the camming arm and line it back up with the holes right here. This part gets a little bit finicky. The more you play with it, the better you'll get at it. So you can pop the first component of the pin back in and then the second component. All right? What this will allow me to do, there's an arrow on it, and that tells you which way is up so that you know that you've configured it correctly. Basically, when we look at it, we can see the longer leg of the triangle, and that should point towards your anchor points. It will slide either way until, let me grab a carabiner here, I activate the arm, the camming arm. I can still drag it up, but now if I drag it down, it will lock. And this cam is pressing against the rope and squeezing it against the inside of the frame of the device, stopping it from traveling. It is rated for a 2-person load. If I want to descend it, I'm simply going to squeeze that camming arm and slide it down. Okay? Just like that, that's the rescue sender. The other components, the ID, the 540 belay, and the coming month, Todd will be doing a much more comprehensive overview of all the technical rescue equipment that we utilize, including the MPD, including other components that we have over at Station 1. The purpose of this video is primarily for Station 4 to get a quick familiarization with the equipment that is new to Pump 4. Don't be afraid to take it out of the bags. Do have a look at what we have at the equipment that we've just gone through. Do take a look at the difference between a screw-link carabiner and an auto-locking carabiner. Do get familiar with how to operate ascenders, IDs. Any questions? You know my email address. You know where to find me. Chances are I switch shift with you at least once a week. So, you know, don't be afraid to open up those bags. Just remember, when you put them back, check the inventory and mark the tag. There are a stash of tags kept in the captain's office. These are the tags. That's what they look like. They're in the captain's office, top right hand side drawer.